Good morning. Welcome back to a brand new school year and a brand new front lawn at Composite High School, where 91.1 The Bridge is located. Beautiful work. The landscaping looks fantastic. We've been waiting a long time for it, so we're very thrilled to see it. I am honored to be joined today by Renee Manners, who is a well-known comedian in the community, a whole bunch of other things as well, which we will talk about. Good morning, Renee.
Hey,
Can I tell you something very personal?
Sure.
So when I think about how we live in a small community, but it's rather large, I think of you because I haven't seen you physically for probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because we worked together. You helped me with my exhibit at Mac Island. I don't think I've seen you since.
Small
Where have you
world.
been?
Oh, I've been everywhere, all over the place. You probably see me on Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been, I don't know, I'm a mom, so I'm running around all over the place.
Yeah, you were saying off the air that as a single mom that you're busy just trying to make ends meet. You work a number of different jobs. McDonald Island, you said Keanu College, East Village Pub. See, I do listen.
Yeah, good.
Among other things, you're a very talented artist and a comedian.
Yes, I guess it's official. I got paid for the first time probably a month ago. So does that make me a professional comedian if I'm making money for being funny?
Yeah.
What a dream come true.
I'm very fascinated to understand how you ended up discovering comedy as a potential thing to do.
Well, it just kind of came to me. So I guess it stemmed from the first Spomedy that we did in 2016 in November. And that was my first time ever doing any public speaking, and I totally wung it. And I got a ton of positive feedback about it. And then my friend Erica, who's big in the comedy world here in Fort Mac too, she was harassing me to do amateur night. So we do amateur night at Bailey's Pub every second Tuesday. And I had a little guy, so I couldn't justify getting a sitter and going down. And then my little guy got a little bit older, and we changed how we take care of him, and I ended up having every second Tuesday off. So I went down, and that's it. The rest is history. I'm a big believer in when the universe puts something in front of you, not to ignore it. So if it's something that I want and it's putting it in front of me, I have to pursue it and move forward, and it continues to put it in front of me, and it's working. It's so awesome. I love it.
So the first Spomedy you said was 2016.
Yeah.
You went on stage and you said, I wung it.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? You just made it up as you went along?
Yeah. So I'm certified as a grief recovery specialist, and it's kind of a long story how that became, but during evacuation, I knew that the experience was going to be very traumatic for the majority of our community, and going through a lot of stressful times in my life myself, I really searched how to combat the depression that comes from those sorts of things. And I just wanted to educate the community so that they understood what they were going to be feeling, because a lot of people, we're not taught what we're going to be feeling when we go through a traumatic experience. And I knew it was going to cause a lot of serious damage so I just tried my best to, I don't know if you know when you go through a breakup or something horrible and you can't get out of your PJs and your friends drag you out for a night out and you have a great time and you never would have gone on your own, but you're so happy that they brought you out. So I wanted to create an event like that got people up out of their PJs, let them forget about what was going on. I wanted it to be affordable. I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be educational, but with that kind of stuff, you kind of have to hide it. So I hid it through humor, and I just, talked about how I got to that point and was vulnerable for these people, so they felt comfortable to be vulnerable, and we just tried to have some fun with them and spoil them, and it worked. It worked. I had messages. I still get messages on Facebook saying how that night changed people's lives, which is exactly what we were going for. And
right in front of Renee is a poster for the next Spomedy night, which is coming up on Saturday.
Yeah.
Spomedy at Keanu Theater.
Yeah, in the main theater. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Tickets are $35. It says, come and join us for a night of laughter, appies, live music, art, drinks, and spa treatments. Ooh, that's a lot. That's awesome.
I'm a single mom. I know what it's like. Like, even just for me to be able to leave the house, it's costing me, time away from work, a babysitter, whatever the tickets cost, and then drinks and a cab ride if there's drinks. So I know what it feels like to need something to be a little bit more affordable. So I tried my best to
make it possible.
Yeah, I feel like customer service needs to come back.
Yeah.
So,
do you mind if we talk a little bit about your dance with depression? Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. I'm totally an open book.
Yeah. So, when did you realize that this was a struggle for you?
After I lost my mom when my son was about 5 months old. So then is when I noticed that something was not fixable on its own. I noticed that I was just not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to eat, not wanting to, and it wasn't even that like I don't know how to say this, like I just didn't care if I ate. Like, I just felt empty, and I had this brand new little baby, and like my son's dad was amazing, and I just couldn't feel like, I just felt empty, and I was like, okay, something's wrong here. My depression runs in my family. My mother struggled with depression. It had a huge thing to do with her passing away. She struggled with drug addiction, and I just wanted to make sure that I became a mom that loved herself, because it's really painful to love somebody that can't love themselves. So it became a mission of mine to try to figure out, like, how to get back to the person I know I am. What is this depression? How do we get better? How do we get back, right? So I was exercising. That was huge for me. I was drinking I didn't want to eat, so I was drinking nutritional shakes just to make sure that I was getting enough nutrition so my brain was happy. I was, I went to mediums, I went to psychics, I went to therapists. I did everything that just to find some sort of solution, I guess. And it all worked, but only for a short period of time. Like, I would feel some relief, but it would always come back. As soon as I would start to feel a little bit more bummed out, it would come back. So that's do you want me to tell you what I figured out?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so my family growing up is a little bit complex, but how boring would it be if it wasn't, right? So my stepdad also suffered from depression, and I'm going to try and keep this quick, but it's so long. So my stepdad suffered from depression due to, he lost his 5-year-old daughter to a drunk driver, and unfortunately she passed away in his arms. So imagine, like, I have a little boy. I don't know what I would do if anything ever happened to him. So unfortunately he wasn't educated on what to do with those emotions, and that took him down a really dark path as well. His ex-wife, I had a stepsister too, so there was 2 of them. One passed away, and there was one, Leanne, my stepsister. Me and her were super tight, and his ex-wife, Karen, used to have me in her home every other weekend. So I found that really admirable in her, because not only did she lose her daughter in his care, she still she still had her other daughter go with her dad, which I just find that super admirable for her to be able to have that kind of trust, right? And she would have me in her home all the time, and she became a mom to me, and she gave me a book. Then a couple years later, she was 8.5 months pregnant with her baby, with her husband, who she was madly in love with, and he fell to his death. So she lost her daughter and then her husband when she was about to have another baby. So this lady has been through incredible amounts of turmoil, and I was explaining what I was going through after my mom passed away, and then a couple of years later, unfortunately, me and my son's dad ended up going separate ways, and that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and it really forced me to look at myself and look at, my life and where I wanted to go and the type of person I wanted to be. And I was explaining to her just like how the tough stuff I was going through, and she handed me this book. Everybody get this book. It's called The Grief Recovery Method. It is the most incredible book in the entire world. It should be in schools. Everybody should have it. I went to the bookstore and bought as many copies as I could get and handed it out to all my friends. A few of my friends, I bought more than 2 copies. A couple of my friends lost their homes and the book was in there and I bought them new ones. A couple times I went to bookstores and cleared their shelves. All the way to the point where I went to Los Angeles and became certified under them to educate people on grief recovery, because what it teaches you in the book is so general. It's a process for anybody, any age, I think we should teach our kids this. I teach my kids this. It just teaches you what grief is, and which you would be very surprised to learn what it actually is and how to manage it. It's very logical. And it breaks it down a little bit at a time, so it's not super overwhelming, so people aren't afraid to face those feelings that are kind of yucky, right? So yeah, it's amazing. You got to get this book, you guys. If anything comes out of this interview, the bookstore is sold out, okay?
The name of the book again?
Grief Recovery Method. It's purple. It's like $12. It'll change your life.
Renee Manners is our guest this morning. She is featured in Spomedy coming up Saturday night. She is a comedian who has this gift in her toolbox that helps her with her lifelong dance with depression. We're going to talk more about that when we come back. We need to take a break, and you are listening to Impact right here on 91.1 The Bridge. Good morning. Welcome back to Impact. Hope you got the kids off to school safely and happily this morning. It's been a great summer, and we're heading into an exciting fall. And I'm very pleased today to be joined by my friend Renee Manners. Renee is an artist. She's a comedian, very involved in the community, and she's a single mom who seems to be, in my opinion, somewhat of a super mom, and I'm not sure quite how she does it. I'm really interested. You've talked a little bit about depression, the role that it played in your life. You've talked about grief. The connection with comedy, is comedy for you one of those things in your coping toolbox, or is it something else?
It's definitely become a coping mechanism now that I'm discovering what I need to keep myself healthy and happy. It's definitely a calling for me. So every time that I go to amateur night, something tries to tell me that I shouldn't go. You have too much laundry to do. You have this, you have that. And I force myself to go. And every single time I go, I'm so happy. And my spirits are so lifted. And just to make people laugh is just an incredible feeling. It fills my soul.
I've been watching a lot about Michael Jackson the last couple of weeks, and he speaks about his comfort place, his place where he feels most at home is in front of an audience on a stage. Is it a similar feeling for you?
Yeah, I love it. I don't know why, but I just get so excited. It's such an adrenaline rush, and I just get like, you just never know what's going to happen. It's exciting.
Are you still winging it, or do you go in with a little bit of an idea now?
Oh, I have a set that I've worked on over my, I guess, almost a year doing amateur night. But a lot of my humor, it comes from wit and quick sarcasm. So it really depends. Like if I can play with the crowd, and sometimes the story will just pop into my head and I'll tell it. Like, I don't know. Sometimes a detriment, maybe.
You, in your life, have been through a number of dark periods. This opportunity of being in front of an audience, how much of it is driven by your desire to want to help others?
Oh, 100%. 100%. You only have so much time on this planet, and when it's my time to go, I'll leave behind my son, and I want to make sure that he's better than I was. I don't want my mom's death to be for no reason, and you can only leave behind a legacy. So I just hope that everybody that I come in contact with, everybody that I make laugh, they take that with them in their lives, and it creates a ripple effect. It's definitely happening with my son. He wrote his first joke the other day, like an authentic joke, and told me to tell it at the comedy show.
Is it palatable for this Christian radio station?
It's 100%
Okay, tell it to
6-year-old
us.
joke.
All right.
So he goes, "Hey, Mom, what did the chicken say when it was time to leave the restaurant?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "I need a box." So right there, my heart was just like, oh, yes.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Away you go. Tell those jokes to all your friends.
When you were really, really struggling, and you described you didn't have any desire to eat, you didn't want to get out of bed, and I know there are people in the world potentially listening to this right now that might be exactly in that place right now. What, if anything, can you tell them that might be somewhat of a glimmer of hope?
I would say that it's only temporary. Give yourself the time to just sit and, do your best to do one thing for yourself. Brush your teeth, eat an apple, something healthy. Read, try to surround yourself with positive things, like put on a comedy, or, just know it's only temporary. You can't feel like that forever. So that's what I would say.
Are you doing better?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Because you always have you have the best Facebook smile, period.
Thanks,
but
Dad.
We all know that so did Robin Williams and others. So that's why I asked that. Are you really well?
Yeah, I am. It comes and goes, but now I know what to expect. I know what to do. I know how to take care of myself. Nothing works better than some fresh air, some exercise, some healthy food, and knowing that it's temporary. It's natural. It's a natural feeling. Your body's communicating to you. Something's not right. And the better you are at recognizing that, the easier it is to move through it quicker. But it's just like happiness. But we're taught not to show those emotions, right? If you want to cry, go cry in your room. Yeah. So it's just, but I love that we're getting to a point now where there's a ton of awareness. Like that wasn't even a thing 10 years ago. So
yeah, it was never talked about.
Yeah.
You have all kinds of different, what's the one, the Bell Let's Talk, and
yeah, and I would love to create a movement in the world through comedy about grief recovery, and just kind of take away the stigma and help people understand that it is normal to feel crummy sometimes.
Yeah.
And just to do a few things. I just think about my mom, and if somebody would have talked to her early enough in her life, she could have gone a totally different direction, right? So.
Renee Manners is our guest this morning. She is hosting a Spomedy night on Saturday. Are there tickets left right now?
Not very many.
Not very many. So they're $35 each at Keanu Box Office, I assume. Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's in the main theater. So, wow. Is it just you, or is it a bunch of people?
I'll be there, and I have Curtis Gilbert opening, and he is hilarious. He does amateur night with me as well. But yeah, that's it. And then I got a couple things up my sleeve for some fun stuff to entertain everybody. We've got catering by East Village Pub. We've got an art gallery and some live music. Just trying to make it a fun, worthwhile good night. It's done by 9, so if you need to go to bed early, or if you want to continue your Saturday night out somewhere.
Awesome. Is it just ladies, or can anybody come?
Anybody can come. Okay. That was the feedback from last time. I made the last one a ladies' night just because I wanted people to feel comfortable. Just trying to teach, work together, and ladies are the heart, I think. I got a little guy, and he's tough, but when he needs some love, he comes to mama. So I just wanted to teach all the mums and the women. Yeah. But this one, that was the feedback I got, is that I should open it up to everybody, so I did. Again, it's coming up Saturday night. We're going to talk more with Renee right after this. You're listening to Impact. It is a team effort of United Way, Fuse Social, Shaw TV, Fort McMurray, YMM Magazine, and 91.1 The Bridge.
Welcome back to Impact. Renee Manners is my guest. She is hosting Spomedy at Keano Theatre on Saturday night. Renee is a single mom who has discovered that comedy makes her feel really good and makes others feel really good too. And I know today's a big day probably. You said your son is off to school today?
Yeah.
First time?
Yeah. Well, he's in grade 2.
He's in grade 2. Tell me your son's name again.
Mason, like
Mason.
the jar.
All right, so if Mason was listening to this, and I'm sure you'll let him listen to it later, what would you say to Mason?
Like life advice?
Yeah.
Oh, I would just tell him to be kind to other people and have compassion and do his best to understand his emotions so that he can get through life bumpless as possible. I talk to him about that stuff all the time, just to be self-aware. And
does he make you better?
150%. I don't know how I won such a amazing little dude. He is so funny. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, you got a big night coming up on Saturday. What's the year holding for you? What other things are going on? What's the dream?
After this?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not really exactly sure yet, but if everything goes super well and this is a hit and I can figure it out, I would love to be able to tour Canada as a comedian. I'd love to be able to kind of hybrid like comedy and public speaking. And I would love to educate people on grief through comedy as a comedy show. You see people like all these famous comedians that have 20,000 sold out arenas and they have an hour with these people. Imagine the ripple effect you could create having an hour of 20,000 people's attention like every few nights. Incredible. So that's my goal. We'll see.
How do people follow you? Like, what's the best way to figure out what's next with Renee Manners?
I'm also figuring that out right now because this is all happening so fast. So far, just like social media, Facebook and stuff like that. But I guess I'm starting to get to the point where I should have a professional or a comedy page. Right now, I guess you could just follow me on Facebook and Instagram. It's just my name.
Yeah, and come out to the comedy nights.
Yeah, come to the show. Yeah. Amateur night starts again on September 11th, and then it'll be every second Tuesday at Bailey's Pub. And then come out on September 8th. It is my birthday, so come to my birthday party.
She's
You're invited.
She's going to be 25.
25! All over again.
Well, I want to wish you well,
and
thank you for coming in and being not honest isn't the right word, just being open about what you've been through and the fact that you've found something that works.
Yeah.
Which is a great news story.
Yeah. I hope that I can help other people do the same thing. Life's too short to feel sad.
Yep. Saturday night, Spomedy at Keano Theatre. Not a lot of tickets left, so get to the box office as soon as you can. Renee Manners has been our guest here on Impact. It is a team effort of United Way, Fuse Social, Shaw TV, Fort McMurray. Thanks to Matt and Trina for being here and filming us today. Also thanks to YMM Magazine and 91.1 The Bridge.